Welcome to the Catch Up powered by Uscreen. There is a lot happening in the world of YouTube today. So Kylie, what are we going to talk about first?
All right, courses are coming to YouTube. They're preparing to launch a course feature for qualified creators, whatever that means, where creators can offer paid or free courses and quizzes on the community feature to go with that educational theme. Free courses will have ads, and it's not entirely what YouTube's cut from those paid courses will be. We're expecting more information about that to come out pretty soon, though. But creators have so many options for where to put a course now if that's something that they want to include in their creator business. Is YouTube worth considering as a home for courses?
It's a great question. This is something that's kind of exciting to see, but I don't know how well it's going to be adopted. I would imagine the revenue split is going to be YouTube takes 30%. I think we've seen that 70-30 precedent set before, and I'd be really surprised if they want to take 45 or 55% like they do with AdSense. But I remember the example that I saw on YouTube's website. They have like an animated GIF that's on the page as you scroll with the feature announcement, and the course listed is like, I want to say it was $15 course. So that immediately says to me that they are thinking about this as almost the same way they think about channel memberships, in that like you're not going to set up a really robust membership on YouTube with channel memberships. That just isn't how the functionality works. And I think that's what we're going to see with this course feature, is that it's going to be like a light feature and may help creators who want to expand their monetization options but aren't ready to commit to a course platform and paying a course platform and building out this other system. Plus, not to mention like the benefit of not having to go off platform for that course and being able to keep everyone there. There's a nice benefit to that. Like you're not having to send people off platform. So I'd imagine there's a little bit of a reward that will be given to creators using this feature by YouTube, in that they may drive traffic or whatever it is. I actually saw on that same feature page, YouTube showed a course showing up in search results, which I think will play a big deal or a big role in terms of this feature launching. I don't know if you have different opinions, James.
See, I don't know. For the first time, I think I might agree with you in a very long time.
Wow.
I know, shocking,
That's
right?
Where
I mean, firstly, YouTube's going to YouTube, right? They're going to take money from you. They're going to find a way to milk you for what it is, like for whatever it is the content that you're putting on there. And you really have to be aware of that going into it. We've been using YouTube long enough now to know that they're always going to take a cut. And as you say, like having something on YouTube, you're going to get rewarded for that from the platform, because they're slowly building this all-in-one solution, right? We get the sense that that's where they're going. And I honestly think that this is going to be a great way that if you've never done courses before, that you can explore them in a way that will get you some return on investment, from what it is that you've put into it, and test the waters to then take that somewhere else and monetize it in a different place. It could also be great for like looking at it from a marketing point of view as like a lead into things, right? This is the first thing that you get them to invest in, to spend time with, that then slowly builds up those yeses where they come to the rest of your content and pay for your premium stuff. So I think for any creator that's using it, it's a good like string to your bow. Use it to your advantage, but be very, very aware of the limitations.
Yeah, I think there's a very interesting ecosystem being built for a creator that's paying attention and has more of an integrated or holistic approach to YouTube. Like, okay, I'm going to set up a $15 course and like lead people into that. But if they want access to me to do like in-depth Q&As or anything like that, they should come and sign up for my channel membership. And if they want this template that I've created, I can integrate Shopify with my channel now and show products below my videos that I can then sell as well. Like I'll be very interested to see if anyone is able to kind of incorporate all of those different elements in a really seamless and naturally progressing way, if that makes sense. Kylie, what do you think are some of the drawbacks of this approach? Because I feel like you're usually a devil's advocate.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question, because I, on the surface level, as a consumer on YouTube, hate the idea of paid courses, especially when they show up in search. If I am searching for the answer to a question on YouTube in that search bar, I don't want to have to sort through paid courses to get to the answer I want, when it may be just a quick 5-minute video could answer what I'm looking for, right? Free courses, I can absolutely see being a window into more interaction with the creator, but I think it's going to be something to keep in mind with how much individual paid content are you putting on your YouTube channel. Because if you want me to buy your course and to buy your membership and to buy your Shopify thing, it starts to feel like a cable package with all the sports add-ons and HBO. And it just leaves an icky feeling, whereas if something was more combined into one, say, hey, with my membership, you also get this course, it feels less weird from a consumer standpoint. So I think that's something to be really aware of, is how much you're asking people to go back to their wallet, go back to their credit card and pay you.
That's a good point. The thing that comes up for me here is, for creators, the number one problem here that YouTube still hasn't addressed, and I'm not sure that they ever will because of privacy issues and whatnot, is that you can set up this course, you can set up a channel membership, you can sell whatever these goods are via the Shopify integration or the merch shelf, but at the end of the day, you still do not own your audience. YouTube will not let you own your audience. You cannot take, they haven't indicated anyway with these courses that somebody who buys can then move over to your email list, right? Like, you're not, because they buy the course doesn't mean you're going to get their email address so that you can communicate with them. There may be some sort of on-platform communication, which it's interesting, YouTube doesn't really have a DM feature, but I feel like that could be valuable and also abused, but that's probably a different conversation. But you don't own your audience on the platform. So if you create a course and you sell 100 of those courses, that's great. But if you get couple copyright strikes, or you break the community guidelines and your channel gets banned, or you get kicked off the platform, or you get demonetized, those are still real problems that you have to take into consideration when you're trying to build your income on that platform. So obviously we're going to come at it from that angle because we're an off-platform monetization tool for these creators, but it's a very real obstacle that creators need to be aware of as they're looking at these tools. I think it's amazing. YouTube has shown again and again and again that they are for creators and for helping creators monetize. And I'm all for YouTube. I love it. You just have to be aware of the things that can snare you along the way and trip you up. With that said, I think that kind of leads us into our next topic, if I'm not mistaken, Kylie.
So Daniel, like you said, now here's the bad news about YouTube and these courses. With new ways to monetize comes new ways to serve ads, and more of them. So shorts are getting rolled into the partner program early next year, which is great because that ad revenue money will get shared with creators. But that indicates we're going to see more ads in the shorts feed. Plus, YouTube has run an experiment where they showed up to 10 unskippable ads at a time, which just blows my mind. But creators have some choices when it comes to ads. So if you're a creator looking at your monetization option page when you upload a video, and just in general when planning your content, how are you going to balance your earning options with audience experience? Because I do not want to see 10 ads in a row.
Well, clearly you don't subscribe to Hulu on the ad tier then, because if you did, you would know that feels standard over there. Sometimes it's only 4, 6, 8, but it's not great. But I guess it's time to go get a snack and go to the bathroom, just like commercials in the 90s or the 2000s that we, or at least some of us, lived through. I think it's great. I love that YouTube is like bull rushing to put ads in shorts, because right now we're not seeing any there. We're conditioned to seeing ads now on TikTok, even if it's every 4 or 5 that you scroll through. I think that YouTube will be tactful in how they do this. And it's interesting because they're actually taking 55% of ad revenue from shorts as opposed to 45% like they take from long form, which they've said the extra 10% is going to go towards licensing sounds and music so that they can compete with TikTok in that area, because that's part of the draw of TikTok, right? Is the trends and the virality that are around trending sounds and music and whatnot. So I'll be interested to see how all that plays out. I think, though, these 10 unskippable ads is kind of crazy, but it's more incentive to sign up for YouTube Premium. At least that's, in my mind, that's 100% what this is about. This is about YouTube figuring out how do we get people to transition towards YouTube Premium and getting more of that kind of subscription revenue from end users, because I'll be honest, YouTube Premium is a great experience. I love it. I've been on it for like 1.5 years, 2 years. I've not regretted it's $1 of that. It's so good. And I would imagine that adding more ads is also the opportunity for them to add in tiers to their YouTube premium pricing. That's just a theory I have. But at the end of the day, all of this means more revenue for YouTube and more revenue for creators. So I can't say that I'm like overly upset about any of this.
See, I think what ties these last 2 points together, or both of these points together, is that YouTube is trying to not end up like MySpace. Like all social medias at the moment are trying to make sure that they don't go out of business, and we're seeing it across loads of different platforms, and even Facebook suffering from that to an extent. YouTube is really trying to make sure that YouTube survives over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And the way that they do that is to create a great user experience for people. So I think that applies to both creators and their audience. And that really ties into what you were saying there, Daniel, that they'll be tactful about the way that they go about this. But at the end of the day, they also want to make money for themselves so they can continue to earn, so they can continue to grow and get creators in. But if creators earn more money, then YouTube earns more money. That's something we're learning as well. And it's a really sort of pertinent thing at the moment. But if YouTube can stop itself from going out of business by doing these things, by getting creators more money, by doing something tactful that also increases the user experience, that'll be great. And Kylie, you said something before about like, it feels weird to search for something and have a course show up. But we've said that about every feature ever to come into social media in any platform. It's like, this will be awful, we won't do it. And then 5 years later, you're like, oh my God, I love it. I remember being really against stories. And now I have loads of highlights on my Instagram and all of that stuff going on. Even if it's 10 adverts back to back, people will get used to it because they don't really have anywhere else to go either. So I probably wouldn't choose it as a first option, but it's probably going to become like a normal part of the experience if you don't go to premium.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love the idea of the free courses as a way to organize your content. It's the idea of having to shuffle through what's free and what's paid when I'm looking for an answer. So if that's something that YouTube includes in their search feature, like, hey, don't show me paid courses while I'm looking for this, that would completely negate the problem. But yeah, James, I think you're on the right track with that. It's just going to be totally normal in the next couple of years.
I think it's a really interesting move, and I think it reminds me, as we were sitting here talking about it, it reminds me a lot of what Apple has done in like the decade or so since Steve Jobs died. And since Tim Cook came on as CEO at Apple, they've kind of transitioned from like product first, as in like hardware first, and we're going to innovate products every single year and it's going to be wild. They're still doing that, but it's like we've got the brightest display ever in a device, which is like marginal upgrades every year to those. But where they've really expanded and grown their revenue is services. And I think that that's a little bit of what we're seeing YouTube do here is like, all right, we've got to figure out not only how to stay relevant, we've also got to figure out how do we continue growing our revenue. And they're lucky in that they can be like, but we're also growing your revenue as a creator. But really, it comes down to their bottom line. So I just think it's very interesting because this adds another avenue for that. If they make the YouTube Premium more appealing to a broader demographic, that significantly can increase their bottom line of revenue. So I think there's a lot of upside for creators here. But there are obviously, like anything, there are things to watch out for.
I think there's stuff to consider for like your own business as well. Like, I read a great thing once that was that why McDonald's marketing strategy needs to be different than Burger King's. Even though they're like two household names, McDonald's is number one. They need to market to stay number one. Burger King needs to market to become number one to get that extra share. So, but things need to be different, and it's worth thinking about that in your own businesses as well, about like, where does your marketing strategy sit with those things if you have a marketing strategy? But that's what YouTube is. YouTube is first, and they're trying to find ways to stay first.
So let us know in the comments, if YouTube introduces 10 unskippable ads in a row, would you subscribe to YouTube Premium for, I think it's $12 a month? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see if James or Kylie sign up for YouTube Premium in the next 12 months. It's $12. Like, are you guys that cheap?
Do you know how many other services I pay for? YouTube's the free one that I can rely on.
They just don't get it. Maybe you get it. Let us know in the comments if you get it like me. But thanks so much for joining us for this episode of The Catch Up. We'll see you in the comments.